Good morning, Mr. Musigidi.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Ms. Nku.
Morning, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Today we have Mr. Nku. His testimony was postponed the week before last, Chair. Chair, Mr. Duplessis.
Sorry, and good morning, Mr. Duplessis. My apologies.
Good morning, Chair. May I just say that I represent Mr. Nku here today.
Yes.
My colleague, Mr. Eckstein, I'm standing in for him. He's unfortunately with a health issue hospitalized.
Yes.
But we are ready to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Duplessis. Yes, Mr. Musigidi.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the witness is here. He can be sworn in.
Ms. Nku, please place your full names on record.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Tumelo, surname is Nku.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, please say so, help me God. I see your right hand is already up.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, you should have about 8 files behind you, but for this morning, we will be focusing on the statement files containing Mr. Nku's statement, or statements rather. And then there's a file also containing WhatsApp chats and screenshots, which I will draw the Commission's attention when we get to that. Thank you. Mr. Nku, you should have by you a file which contains your statement. You will see that there's an index which describes your statement from page 1 to 6. Can you confirm that?
I do confirm, Commissioner.
Yes, let's go to that statement. It's titled, on page 1, it's titled Sworn Affidavit. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
If you go to page 6 of that document, you see there at the deponent there is a signature there and a date. Can you confirm that to be your signature?
I do confirm, Chair.
And can you confirm that this is the statement you submitted to the Commission?
I do confirm, Chair.
Yes. And then, Mr. Nku, you also submitted another statement. What we refer to is a supplementary statement. It should follow down immediately after item 2 to the first annexure. Do you see the index?
I do see the index, Chair.
Yes, and then if you page over, it will say supplementary statement, and similarly on page 4 of that document, there is a signature under the deponent. Do you confirm that to be your signature, Mr. Nku?
I do confirm, Commissioner.
And you confirm that this is your supplementary statement that you submitted to the Commission?
I do confirm that this is my supplementary.
And you stand by the contents of both statements?
I do to the best of my ability, sir.
Thank you. Then, Mr. Nku, I want us to go back to your statement. I will be asking you to...
Chair, perhaps just before we proceed, may I just place on record the following, that this matter mainly concerns a docket, a police docket relating to a Boyson's CAS 98/07/2021, in terms of which Mr. Nku was arrested, and prosecution was in fact instituted, but at a later stage withdrawn. The situation is that obviously Mr. Nku will still be exposed to prosecution in that matter. So I wish to record formally then that Mr. Nku will assert his rights in terms of Section 3(4) of the Commissions Act 8 of 1947 in terms of his right of privilege against self-incrimination, and furthermore relating to Rule 8 of this Commission's regulations relating to the use of any evidence he gives here in any criminal prosecution which may follow, although I hasten to say that Mr. Nku will deny having made himself guilty of any criminal actions or offences, but I just wish to formally place on record then that he will assert his rights as I set out.
I assume this relates to responses to individual questions and not a blanket claim of
Indeed so.
The right against self-incrimination.
Yes, indeed so, Chair, but the situation is that he is here under subpoena and obviously compelled to give evidence. We are not going to, from question to question, assert that right. So it is.
No, by question to question, I mean where that does arise.
Where it applies.
Yes.
Without then specifically every time pointing it out to the Commission.
If it doesn't point it out where it is meant to apply, then we will expect responses of substance to the questions.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Nku, are you then on your sworn affidavit, which is what we call your first statement?
Yes, indeed,
Yes.
I am, Commissioners.
And then can you then continue reading that into record, starting with the way you say I, Tumelo Nku, and then you continue?
I, Tumelo Nku, hereby make oath and state as follows. I am an adult male. Must I skip the ID number?
No, you can skip the ID number, definitely.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. Just I'm an entrepreneur in businesses with proficiency in data analysis, ethical hacking, consignment and inventory management, conducting cyber penetration testing and research for various organizations.
I am happy to learn that there's something called ethical hacking. Please continue, Mr. Nku.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. Consignment and inventory management, conducting cyber penetration testing and research for various organizations. The facts contained herein are within my personal knowledge, unless otherwise stated, and are to the best of my knowledge and both true and correct. The affidavit is submitted in response to the questions posed by the Commission regarding the events of the 9th of July 2021 at Eraton, Johannesburg.
Mr. Nku, just one question before we go to paragraph 2. As part of your entrepreneurship, are you also involved in tendering or offering tenders to various arms of government, including municipalities as well?
Offering tenders. Please,
No, no. Do you tender to offer services to different arms of the government, including municipalities?
So,
Usually would say, are you also a tenderpreneur?
no, I'm not a tenderpreneur. I'm a business consultant who have clients which are tenderpreneurs. But I do not run a business which is tendering for municipalities and government.
Thank you. Then you can proceed.
Thank you very much.
Then you can start at 2.1, sources of information.
Sources of information. I became aware of the potential shipment dating the last week of April 2021 through confidential sources. At that stage, the information was preliminary and indicated a possible shipment involving arms contraband, including drugs. I share.
Sorry, and what do you mean it was preliminary?
Preliminary would mean hearsay, Chair. Something that is not definitive. To narrow it down to specifics as to whether it's vague. Might be this, might be that.
Oh, please continue then. I shared.
Preliminary and indicated a possible shipment of arms and contraband, including drugs. I shared the information with LT General Sindile Mfazi, whom I was initially introduced by former Minister, Deputy Minister of Defense, Komisake Mapatwe, as he expressed that General Mfazi was his compatriot in exile. Further details were received and shared in late June. All the information was relayed to the General accordingly. By approximately the 7th, 2021, certain containers were identified as being prioritized for transportation. One of them was conclusively positive based on.
Sorry, sorry, Mr. Nku. You say that the information about arms, contraband, and drugs, or rather, the information concerned the shipment of all the things I've just itemized. Was there mention of the type of drugs, perhaps? Was it cocaine?
There was no mention of the type of drugs.
They just said drugs. Yes. All right. When you advised General Mfazi of this information, was it the first time you ever advised police about information possibly involving criminality?
No, Chair.
It was the first time?
No, it wasn't, Chair.
It was not?
It was not the first time.
Okay. Who had you done this within the law enforcement service or services?
So I've mainly done or sent information or exchanged information with Chief Mashaba, or let me say Mr. Mashaba. And in expression, I want to move from this premise when I refer to Mr. Mashaba. Maybe I'll get to it in terms of the relationship.
I've read your statement. I've seen your introduction on how you got to know each other. At this stage, I just wanted to know, when you gave information to General Mfazi,
yes,
was it the first time you ever gave information
to law enforcement?
Yeah, possibly involving criminality to law enforcement.
No, it was.
So you've said no. You said no.
I've heard, yes.
So
I've heard.
Now, but what about General Mfazi? Was this the first occasion with him?
I would say,
I'm
okay,
just-
this wasn't the first engagement.
with General
so-
Mfazi.
So maybe let me clarify the introduction with General Mfazi.
Yes.
When he was introduced, initially it was mainly based on my skill set to aid in looking up information. Because he was introduced to me, and the referral was maybe in our colloquial language, maybe ukamutusa kantotetsa,
Meaning
IT, yes.
your skill set.
Yes. So when he was referred to me, it was mainly based on that. But looking at obviously the seniority, I felt the rapport.
Sorry. Seniority in the sense of the rank he held, or seniority in terms of age? Seniority in what sense?
Seniority in terms of the rank that
right.
he held.
All right.
Then it would be easier to pass information directly to him as opposed to, and I was just testing waters. That's why I'll get to maybe Mr. Mashaba later.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
All right. I'm not probing at this stage. This is merely seeking clarity, and that's what we usually do. You first run through your statement, but along the way we may ask clarity-seeking questions. So, if I understand you correctly, you are saying this was not the first occasion you gave information to General Mfazi. Now, on how many occasions before this occasion had you given information to him, and what suspected criminality was involved during those previous occasions or instances?
So, Chair, maybe let me clarify. This was the first occasion where I've given information, because the introduction was not based on me giving information, but rather the introduction was me aiding in my skill set, clarifying information.
Okay, maybe we misunderstood each other then, because maybe 3 or so questions back, my question was whether this was the first occasion you had ever given information of this nature to General Mfazi. So you are saying this was the first occasion?
This was the first occasion. It was because we were recently introduced.
All right, okay.
It didn't been long.
Okay,
yes.
All right. Now, besides General Mfazi, I want to know if before this occasion, the occasion that involved General Mfazi, you had ever given information about suspected criminality to any other law enforcement officer?
It had been Mr. Mashaba.
Mr. Mashaba.
Yes, a couple of times.
How many times? How many times?
A lot of times. Couple
may sometimes be vague. Some people use couple literally to mean two. But
no, more than twice. There had been a lot of instances where I've given information. And that's why I said maybe in terms of clarity, I don't know if Chair wants me to get to that now or
maybe let's leave it at several instances. Then maybe we'll get to the detail at the probing stage.
Okay, thanks, Chair.
Now, just another question. I hope it will also not sound probing at this stage. So, were you a paid informer/informant, or were you doing this altruistically or out of the goodness of your heart?
Chair, I wasn't a paid informer in a sense of giving information to law enforcement. Yet,
I don't understand that. You are not an informer as in giving information to law enforcement. Or paid, or you used paid. All right.
Yes, I wasn't a paid informant. I was more of a confidential source. However, I have instances where I've consulted with I would say foreign intelligence entities on the basis of my skill set. That is not merely being an informant, but as a consultant who would expect remuneration for their services. So, in terms of giving information,
Sorry, just to make sure I understand. The last thing you are referring to, would it be similar to, for example, being contacted by a corporate entity for you to assist it in terms of your skill, what you referred to as your skill set? Would that be the same thing, basically? You are an expert in this, and you are a player in this environment. Can you please, using that skill, assist me? So is that what you are referring to when you are referring to the criminal justice system, or rather law enforcement officers? Would you be assisting them in that sense, or what?
So I think maybe, Chair, if you can phrase it differently, because I'm not.
Yes.
Or maybe I don't understand the question, Chair.
I asked you a question whether you were doing this altruistically or out of the goodness of your heart.
Precisely, Chair.
Were you paid, or were you doing it altruistically?
No, for providing information to law enforcement, I haven't been paid.
That was the simple answer. You then confused me by referring to something else. That's what got me lost, which is why, to understand, I then made a comparator with the corporate world and said, would you be doing something similar as, for example, if you were engaged by an entity within the corporate world? But you've answered me, you've said you were not paid.
Pardon me,
You would give information to law enforcement officers for free. You've answered me. So let's forget about the other issue you were trying to explain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Maybe before you proceed, sir, Mr. Msikiri, you say that you had that information first in April 2021, and you say it was preliminary information at that stage, but you shared with General Mfazi. What at that point do you share? What exactly do you say to him?
The information that I shared was, or rather that I shared was, there might be something of this sort that's maybe, to use a slang for it, that's being cooked up, or that's still in the making. If it is at all possible, as I keep acquiring more details, I'll then feed the information, but be on the lookout. That was more of it. Be on the lookout. There might be something of this sort in the making.
Okay. So when you say be on the lookout, as in what? As he should start preparing to do something about that information? Was that the idea?
There will come a time where the information is positive.
Okay. And then you say then there were further details received and shared in late June. You relate this to General Mfazi. You say, what exactly then at that point is different that you're conveying to him?
At that time, I'd acquired information relating to a granted ship that was coming. So basically, when one refers to preliminary information, there had not been plans set in motion for any of either the arms or the contrabands. But at a much later stage, because the information is much more narrowed at that point, to say that now there is a talk of a vessel. I would then deem it to be much more close to being positive at that point in time.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is, with these further details that you say you share with General Mfazi, do you at that point say there is this ship, it's coming from this destination, and it will be containing arms, drugs, or whatever? Is it that kind of detail? Because you say there's further details, so you are now beyond
so now
general.
the further detail would be the vessel itself.
You say there is a vessel.
Because now, when I say preliminarily, the information was vague. There was nothing to narrow it down to.
Yes.
But now, when there is a vessel in play, it's much more narrowed. Then you start having. So you've, for lack of a better word, you've narrowed it down. The only thing now is to get precise container numbers, things of that sort.
Okay, all right, we'll come back to it. Thank you.
Okay.
Perhaps while we're there, Mr. Nku, can you just explain, when you say you shared the information with Lieutenant General Cindy Mfazi, how did you share the information?
So I shared the information through, but there was an app which I usually chatted to with Commissar Kirima Patso. It is called Silent Tel. So we would either use that app, or there's another app called Troop Messenger, but we would hardly use that, because Silent Tel is the most secure application in terms of moving in confidential information.
And did he respond to you on that message?
Yes.
And what did he say?
No, his response was, okay, keep it coming.
Keep the information coming.
Yes. Well, so it was more, I need clarity. I need something tangible. Initially, when I said I need something tangible, because I just sent a vague a message to say that there's something of this sort that's in the pipeline that needs to be on a lookout for.
And out of interest, the apps that you've mentioned, and one of them being the most secured, not any ordinary person has those apps. When did you get to know, or how did you get to know that the general might have such an app?
I would guess that one being in the space that one is in terms of having access to tech, and one constantly researching on how do I put it, the most secure technology.
All right, let's continue. We'll come back.
Okay.
I think,
are we at 2.2? I think, are we at 2.2? Because I've lost track now.
Yeah, I think,
yes. You
yes.
can start, yeah.
At 2.2 years.
Thank
with
you,
the
Chair.
relationship with
Okay.
Samuel Mashaba.
Okay. Prior to 9 July 2021, my relation...
Sorry, Mr. Nku, before you go to there, can you just explain what you mean in that 2.1? the very last sentence where you say by approximately 7 July, and this is the part that I'm interested to understand, certain containers were identified as being prioritized for transformation. Can you just, for transportation, can you just explain what it is you're meaning there? What does that mean, in fact?
Okay. Let me share through my sources. Shipment or delivery of goods in consignment management are labeled according to priority. There are entities whose goods generally jump the queue, and within the very entities, then they would have their own subcategory of, I would say, if it's goods or containers that are prioritized for collection ahead of others.
You say for collection from where? From the departure port or from where they arrive here, let's say in Durban?
So from the port where they are already delivered. So say, for instance, if in this matter we are dealing with the Durban port, so the collection from the Durban port would be set to being prioritized in accordance to, so if a company is, for instance, receiving 20 containers, and then you may find that 3 of those are loaded or 5 of those are loaded for quick delivery. Those are prioritization ahead of others.
And is there anything unusual or suspicious in itself that certain containers are being prioritized, or that's something that happens in the normal course?
In my limited experience, it is something unusual, because if an entity is receiving, say for instance, 10 containers, the best would be prioritizing all of them. Why then prioritize 1 or 2 of those? If they would be transporting the same thing.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to understand with my question. That are you saying, where you say certain containers were identified as being prioritized for transportation, are you saying of a total number of containers that are going to the same receiver, for lack of a better word, I don't know the language in that industry, that are destined to the same receiver, a certain number of those are being prioritized? So out of 10, only 3 is prioritized, and therefore that is what creates a suspicion. Is that what you're saying?
Precisely, Commissioner Wale.
Okay. And then the last thing, in that same paragraph, you seem to have an incomplete sentence, the very last sentence.
Yes.
Do you want to complete
Yes.
Do you want to complete it?
Okay. So it was, apologies. The suffix there would be based on the intel.
Thank you.
Based on the intel.
Thank you, Mr. Msikiti.
Mr. Nku, before we proceed, so that I'm clear, 2 things. For you to know that...
Should we not take the break now and please hold your thought and resume at 11:30? Let's adjourn. Or just a minute, Commissioner Kumalo indicated that he wants to ask a few questions.
Mr. Nku, good morning.
Good morning, Coach.
How are you?
Good morning, sir.
I'm good. Paragraphs 1 and 2.1, you deal with your background and your expertise in IT and cyber-related issues. But in your response to Commissioner Baloyi, it seemed to suggest that you know quite a lot about port activities and what happens at ports and import and export and containers and stuff like that. So what is your background in that area of commerce? Have you ever worked for a port authority or an institution related to port activities, import, arrival of containers? Can you just give us a full background of what you know and whether you've ever been involved in those industries or those activities?
Commissioner Kumalo, so from an entrepreneur's point of view, not a professional, albeit it extends to professional in a sense that one had impact on studying consignment management. Thus, thank you very much.
Sorry, I made the same mistake. So that I don't repeat myself because I did not hear your answer. Try to speak up if you can.
Apologies. Please
You
bear
stopped
with
at consignment management, so deal with that and then continue the rest of your answer.
Please do bear with me, Commissioner Kumalo. The reason why I'm hesitant of speaking out because I've got a hoarse voice, so I'm afraid of coughing constantly. So do bear with me, Commissioner. From a consignment management point of view, it is not necessarily about having knowledge relating to shipment of containers, but the whole value chain of supply chain management involves the manufacturing, movement of goods up until the end user it's a route to market strategy. And in various sectors of supply chain, the question that Commissioner Baloyi asked does relate to supply chain broadly. It's not just specific to containers. In various industries, shipments can be prioritized ahead of others. So it is not necessarily me having knowledge with shipment inbound and outbound of goods, but from a point of view of someone who has embarked on supply chain management. And as an entrepreneur, I've had a company that has worked in consignment management extensively across various industries like beverage and supplying other goods.
So you've never worked for Transnet?
So my relationship with Transnet was limited to consulting. So I've worked for a company that has consulted with Transnet before.
I don't know who else is in the port space. You've never worked for any of the entities that have activities in the ports?
It was limited to the company that I worked that was consulting with Transnet because I have been at port side. but it's years ago.
The one that comes to mind, I don't want to mention the specific name of the company because it's not implicated in the commission, but it is a logistics company that is responsible for transporting containers from the coast
Point A to point B.
You've never worked for any of those logistics companies?
My relationship with logistics companies is limited to consultation.
So it would be strictly consultation?
Strictly consultation.
Maybe just as a follow-up on this discussion, you say you, as a consultant, your company or the company that you worked for consulted for Transnet, and I think I heard you say that in that capacity you've been to port. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes, Commissioner Paloi.
Okay, maybe then. Sorry, let me let you finish.
Maybe if I clarify, not specifically to port, but to the office that port reports to. So being exposed to the systems. Because consultation is mostly in the ICT space.
When you say being exposed to the system,
Yes.
maybe say more about that. What do you mean? What kind of exposure? What system are you talking about?
So in ICT systems, which Transnet would be using, because one is consulting in a space that is limited to the ICTs, but one would be exposed to the not extensive, but the inner workings or the mechanisms of the system.
Did that include, or would it have included, exposure to the handling and movement of containers and goods by Transnet at the port? That's what I'm trying to understand.
No. It's mostly around your active directory. It's mostly rooted in the ICT space. Remember, when you are talking about the handling of containers, shipments of goods, the type of system used therein, I believe it's SEP. It's more end user orientated, as opposed to more dedicated ICT orientated platforms, like managing your active directories. I don't know if the commissioners are familiar with the terms like managing of their SQL or networking and so forth, and not necessarily relating to the shipment of goods.
Okay. Hopefully I'll understand by the end of your testimony what it is that you're explaining. But lastly, the way you say you then noted and notified that certain containers were prioritized for transportation, how would you have noted that? Is it because you are at the port, you see that? Let me not try and give you an answer. I'm just trying to explain the kind of question that I'm asking you. How do you become aware of that?
Maybe that will partly be clarified in my supplementary statement, okay, Commissioner Valui, because
I'm happy to leave it if it will be clarified in the sequence of your testimony.
I will go at it at length.
Okay,
that's precisely what I meant.
Okay, sure, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
What I remember from that statement is how exactly you would get that information. And that's not necessarily the same as what Commissioner Baloi is asking you. But I may have missed that, but let's leave it nonetheless. Let's leave it.
Pardon me, Chair.
Let's leave it. Let's leave it.
Oh, sorry.
Let's leave it.
No, I was just
Commissioner Baloi will probably raise it again, or even Mr. Musigidi.
No, I was going to say that I will substantiate
Okay.
further. Okay.
Or when we get to that
Yes,
stage.
yes.
No, that's in
When I
order.
get the opportunity.
Can I take you back to paragraph 1?
Paragraph 1.
Yeah, where you talk about ethical hacking. You'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I do have an idea of what that is. When institutions, whether private or government or governmental, either set up their ICT systems, just check them routinely, or even upgrade them, they will get an ICT expert. Maybe not necessarily the one that set it up, but one who will either hack into it or attempt to hack into it to establish if it is secure enough. So it's ethical in the sense that it's authorized by the person to whom the system belongs. Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about something else altogether?
That is precisely what I was referring to.
So basically,
But albeit
so
it's not
basically, you
that.
can hack into people's ICT systems. You have the skill. You have the skill to hack into people's ICT systems.
I
But
fear
just
self-incrimination.
maybe let me add this and say, whether or not you succeed depends on how secure the system is. But otherwise, it's a skill that you do possess. Let me talk about it. Let me not be general and talk about it perhaps in the context of you doing this ethically. So in the ethical context, you could actually hack into somebody's ICT system.
Not just limited to an IT system, any system, Chair.
Any system. Tell me about the others.
It might be Chair's handheld device.
You? Okay, all right. Anything else then other than the ICT?
Across different networks, Chair. Generally, hacking in its nature, it's not a silo operation. So there's always, when we talk recon, there's always an exchange of ideas with maybe like-minded individuals. When one tries to penetrate, it's trial and error. It's testing, consistent testing of a particular system. And sometimes one might not necessarily need others, but just for one aspect, because in the space, technocrat space, there's a type of attack that is called a DDoS attack. It's a denial of service. So you might need other systems encroaching on a network just to have an opening. Once they do a consistent probing of a system, that you have an opening and you are as good as through that system. So to maybe relate to the Chair's previous assertion of an entity bringing in an expert to test their system. That's not how the real world works. Yes, I do know entities do that, but generally,
how does the real world work?
I'm saying because that's a simulation. Granted, companies do that, but how an actual infiltration works does not happen in that manner, where you have someone just going into the system or just testing it. That's why I'm saying more often than not, it becomes a coordinated attack. It comes from various angles. That's why. No,
I just wanted to understand the ethical. That's
I was getting to
Okay,
that,
okay,
Chair.
all
Even
right.
on the ethical part, I would say well-experienced administrators do a simulation or a sandbox of a system and maybe hire a group of ethical hackers or even grey heads. Because in hacking you have your white hat, grey hat, and black hat. Those who hack with impunity. So they would hire a group and have it become a coordinated attack.
Okay, all right. That answers me. Thank you very much, Mr. Nku. Thank you. I think now finally you are at 2.2.
2.2.
Not quite, Chair. I
Yes,
might have
yes.
also further
Oh,
questions.
you had a, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry, Mr. Musigiri.
It's fine, Chair. Mr. Mpu, just to make me understand, when you shared this information with General Mfazi, you indicated that you used a secured network or a secured app. I take it there's no recording or any evidence of that communication between the two of you.
There should have been, there was.
Do you still have it?
Maybe that will be addressed in 2. Sorry about that. In 2.7.
Okay.
That will be addressed in 2.7
I'll
as to what happened after. Yeah.
Yes. No. I wanted to ask you if,
Yes.
for example, did you share that information with anyone else apart from General Mfazi?
So we had because I was introduced to him by Commissar Mapat.
Yes.
We in turn had a group within that app, and I believe if his devices are still available, the app should be.
So you're saying so you were introduced through an app?
No, I'm saying because, so remember I said, because I was introduced to General Mfazi,
Yes.
maybe through a conduit, being Commissar Mapato. My communication with him could not be more direct.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know him through a conduit. So I needed to make the information or avail the information to a platform where both of them are aware when I give information.
So in fact, you shared with both.
I shared with both.
Okay. And are there any family relationships or ties between you and Commissioner Kebi Mapatswe? Are you anyhow related?
I would say we are not blood related. We are distant relatives. There is some form of relations, but we are not close because it's a bit far.
So it will
I
be.
know him from elsewhere, from political affiliations.
So it will be inaccurate to say that he's your uncle, as we have been told.
It would be inaccurate unless it means something otherwise. But it would be inaccurate. He's not my blood uncle.
Yes. No. Chief Mashaba testified that in fact he is your uncle in no uncertain terms, and you're saying that he was mistaken to say so.
I would say he was mistaken.
Yes.
Indeed, he was someone that I was close to, but he was not my uncle.
He's not your relative. Okay.
You refer to him as Commissar Mapatswe. That sounds more like a comrade than a
Yes,
relative.
indeed,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
And then you will say that certain containers, that's the second last paragraph, the second last sentence, you say that certain containers were identified as being prioritized for transportation. Who would have informed you of this prioritization of these containers?
Chair, I think that would be that question that relates to me invoking my right not to self-incriminate, because how some of the information was acquired was not acquired in orthodox in an orthodox manner.
Would it be
So,
fair? Yeah. Sorry.
So it then relates to my my supplementary affidavit.
Okay. At this stage, would it be fair that some of this information would have been from someone from customs, or
No,
not quite?
No, yeah, it wouldn't be someone from customs.
All right. And then lastly, before we go to 2.2, when you shared this information with both Mapazo and General Mfazi, did you disclose to them your source?
No, I hadn't.
So
At
they
no
trust-
material times have I disclosed any of my sources. In any information that I provide, I've disclosed any of my sources.
So they simply acted on your, I suppose, the second-hand information, as it were.
I would say that.
Okay.
But maybe to them it was coming from me.
Yes, but it's not your direct, because you have your source, so it's a
100%, but we never traversed that terrain as to whether I have a source or not. Generally, when one gives information, the person receiving information cares about the information, nothing else. Because more often than not, there would be a fear that if you start asking, why are you getting the information, the person providing information will just run away from you.
Sorry, Mr. Musigidi. You are referring to both General Mfazi and Mr. Kebi Mapatswe as being the recipients of the information. My understanding was that the information was given to General Mfazi, but that the role that Mr. Mapatswe played was to introduce Mr. Nku to General Mfazi.
That was my understanding as well, Chair.
I shared, yeah. Can you please clarify this? Because I'm just looking at
Yes.
1, 2, 3, third line. I shared this information with Lieutenant General Sindile Mfazi, whom I was initially introduced to by former Deputy Minister of Defense, Commissar Kebi Mapatswe. Yes. Did you share the information with both of them?
So maybe let me clarify this, Chair. Initially, because I was introduced. Apologies, Chair. In that plural, I might have stated it as a blanket approach, but most of the information that I've provided was provided to Chief Mashab. So not the law enforcement agencies in plural.
Only Chief Mashaba and General Mfazi, but you say most of it to Chief Mashaba.
Most of it to Chief Mashab.
Thank you.
Yes. There have also been several instances where I finished, so I've passed the...
I think you were to go to EG, a warehouse.
Okay, EG, a warehouse in Pimona suspected of housing a large volume of illicit cigarettes. Unfortunately, much of the documentary evidence relating to previous intelligence sharing engagements was lost when my mobile devices were forcefully taken from me by individuals alleged to be members of crime intelligence. I have, however, provided screenshots demonstrating that even after the events of 2021, I continue to furnish law enforcement authorities with intelligence concerning suspected criminal operations and activities.
And you are still referring to the two that we know of, in particular, Chief Mashaba?
No, Chair. Subsequent to the arrest, in terms of providing information, I had gained acquaintance as detailed in my testimony in chief. I gained the acquaintance of a DPCI member, and now I started providing the information directly because now I know there's a DPCI member. So I would forward.
One of those you had been arrested with?
No. It was Captain Dale Norki.
Oh, thank you.
He was in the arresting team, but as I detailed in my evidence in chief, that a couple of these DPCI people started getting hold of me, wanting information.
Oh, all right.
If I can provide information, I must give them.
All right. Please
so
continue.
I started then forwarding any intel that I've acquired.
Okay. You were to, there's the brackets. Oh, okay. You ended at criminal operations and activities, full stop. You see that just before the brackets.
For law enforcement is concerning suspected criminal activities. Other examples bearing sensitive intelligence will be added standalone as annexures.
Chair, just for the record, Mr. Nku, you have not provided us with the screenshots that you mentioned there in that paragraph. And also you have not provided us with what you call a standalone annexures. Do you still intend on sharing those with us?
Indeed, Chair, apologies. Maybe I might have shared that with the investigators as opposed to the evidence leaders. So I will share that with the evidence leaders and through Mr. Du Plessis.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Musigiri.
Yes, Chair. I was just addressing the issue regarding the screenshots that he indicated that he will provide together with the standalone annexures. Mr. Nku indicated that he shared that with our investigator, but we will make arrangements with Mr. Du Plessis to share same, probably sometime before we come back tomorrow. Thank you. Mr. Nku, we can proceed then to paragraph 5.
Paragraph 5.
Please read the heading as well.
Oh, apologies. How did Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Sibula mislead the Commission? During his evidence in chief, Lieutenant Joseph Sibula testified that downloads were conducted on my devices, and that the allegedly suspicious content recovered from those devices was incorporated into the investigation docket. In 2022, the state made disclosure of the docket and indicated that it was trial ready. However, upon examination of the disclosed docket, the evidence to which Lieutenant Colonel Sibula referred was conspicuously absent. More importantly, the digital forensic report was never disclosed. The forensic software and extraction tools The forensic software and extraction tools utilized by law enforcement agencies automatically generate a cryptographic validation report as an integral component of the digital extraction and forensic acquisition process. Such reports are immediately available to the forensic analyst upon completion of the extraction process. Despite the existence of the standard forensic outputs, the state failed to disclose the digital forensic report and accompanying validation documentation in the docket. The absence of these materials is significant as they constitute the primary evidentiary mechanism through which the authenticity, integrity, and provenance of the extracted digital evidence can be independently verified. This means that any forensic system architecture expert can analyze the same cryptographic image and achieve identical scientific reproductivity. What was my interest? What was my interest in following up the information on the 9th? As in numerous occasions on which I had voluntarily furnished intelligence to law enforcement agencies, in the hope that it would contribute to successful operational outcomes. My interest in following up the information that ultimately led to the errating drug bust was no different. The principal distinction in this instance was the sheer magnitude of the narcotics ultimately recovered, notwithstanding the fact that we unfortunately lost visibility of the arms trafficking component of the intelligence. Beyond that, my motivations remained consistent with a confidential source who expected to be rewarded for giving executable information which led to a successful discovery. As I have in the past been compensated for providing information. Chair, maybe let me qualify that by saying by other, not law enforcement, this was intelligence agencies.
Are you reading, Mr. Okay.
The last sentence, as I have in the past been compensated for providing crucial information to intelligence agencies, not law enforcement. It's two intelligence agencies. Yes. Yes. And my oath, the facts set out in this affidavit are within my personal knowledge and are, unless otherwise stated or converse appears from the context within my personal knowledge and to the best of my knowledge and believe a true and accurate representation of facts. I have no objection in taking the prescribed oath and consider the prescribed oath to be binding on my conscience.
That last again is not a sentence. There's the sentence, full sentence that says, beyond that, my motivations remain consistent with a confidential source who expected to be rewarded for giving executable information which led to a successful discovery, full stop. And then you say, as I have in the past been compensated for providing crucial information to intelligence agencies. That's what I'm saying is not a sentence.
Sorry, sorry, Chair.
Because if you say as I have in the past and you start with uppercase A, as if it's just a minute, as if it's the beginning of a sentence, and in the end it's not a sentence. Do you follow me? Do you understand why I say it's not a sentence?
Absolutely, Chair. Apologies. So it was meant to be a comma and a lowercase a.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
apologies,
Okay.
Chair. Yes, I was trying to clarify that.
But still, there's a bit of incongruence here because you say in the preceding part of this sentence, you say it was the source were expected to be rewarded for giving executable information which led to a successful discovery. And then you say, as I have in the past been compensated. The as doesn't flow from the preceding part of the sentence. The two do not go together. Do you get me?
Chair,
So what exactly are you trying to say in this sentence?
I proposed the S, remove the S. Yes.
And then does it, do we still have we remove the as and then there's a standalone sentence?
There's a standalone sentence.
So instead of the comma, we have a full stop.
full stop, a new sentence.
We bring back the full stop.
Yes, Chair.
So kill the comma, we delete the as. Then we have, I have in the past been comma. Now that's a sentence.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, all right.
Just to be sure, in the preceding sentence, in the immediately preceding sentence where you say confidential source, that confidential source you're referring to is you.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Let my mouth remain consistent with the confidential source.
Chair, with your permission, the witness drew up his own statement. I think just for clarity, the previous page, second last sentence, is for it to be sensible. There's a reference to a forensic systems architecture, and then it says expect. I suspect that it should be expert.
An expert,
If
yes.
we could just clear it up from the witness.
Mr. Msigidi? Do we adjourn for lunch?
Yes, Chair, we can do that.
Yes. Let us adjourn and resume at 14:15.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Musigidi?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Mr. Nku, before we went for lunch, you just reached the end to your second statement, being your supplementary statement. And then, in addition to that bundle, there is what we call additional documents. Those include your CV, your companies, and some of the passport entries. Can we agree that we'll make reference to those documents if and when it becomes necessary, and we don't go through those immediately?
Yes, Chair, I do agree.
Yes, okay, thank you. Then, Mr. Nku, you submitted the first statement to this commission, and it's dated the 7th of May 2026. And when you submitted that statement, I accept that you did that knowing that that statement had to contain a complete and truthful account of the events. Is that correct?
Please repeat that. I didn't catch you.
I'm saying your signed statement, the first statement dated the 7th of May 2026, you submitted it knowing that it had to contain complete and truthful account of events. Do you accept that?
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, we have noticed that your supplementary statement seems to contain more information compared to your initial statement. I just want to ask you a few questions on that, and maybe then we can move on to the nitty-gritties of your statement. So in your first statement, there is no mention that you work for the intelligence agencies. Is that correct? Your first statement does not mention that you work for the intelligence agencies.
In my first statement,
Yes.
I was addressing questions asked.
No. The question is that you don't mention that you work for intelligence agencies. Is that correct?
In my first statement?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then in your second statement, being your supplementary statement, that's when then you describe yourself as having worked with intelligence and agencies and provided cyber intelligence support to law enforcement. And the question then is, why did you omit that?
In my supplementary statement, is as a result of the engagement that I had with evidence leaders, where clarity was sought into the type of operations that I do. So that emanates from that. Initially, I was addressing the questions posed by the Commission.
Yes, but in doing that, you mentioned where you work in the first statement, and you were not confined not to mention your other work in intelligence agencies. Nothing stopped you from mentioning that. Is that correct?
So, Chair, that is not work that I do formally. It's on a consultative basis.
Is that work in the sense of providing them with information, Mr. Musigidi?
Yes, Chair, he puts it
All right.
in those terms, says he also provides support to law enforcement.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
And none of that appears in his first statement, Chair. Mr. Nku, you accept that it's not mentioned, and the
It is
question
not
was,
mentioned.
nothing stopped you from mentioning it, ultimately.
I do concede to that. Nothing stopped me. The only reason I elaborated further was on the basis of the engagement had with the evidence leaders.
Okay. Chair, Before we went for break, while going through the statement of Mr. Nku, there was a mention of a name, and Mr. Nku sought to ask the Commission to redact that name. However, Chair, my submission would be that that name, first of all, is quite relevant and connects to the dot. And without any reasons being given why that name should not be mentioned, we shouldn't, Chair, protect the name without any basis. And in any event, the name we given, it's a shortened name. It's not a full name of the person. But further to that, Chairperson, that name has been prominent in this commission. Chief Mashaba came here. He mentioned the name. Colonel Sebola came here and also mentioned the name, Chairperson. So that horse, in any event, has bolted. We dealt with that name extensively between the chairs of Mr. Nku and Mr. Mashaba, Chair. So I will be seeking, Chairperson, a permission to mention the name, and unless we are told the real reasons why, the fear that Mr. Nku sought to express, we will submit that fear is unwarranted and there's no basis, Chair.
Before I talk to my colleagues about this, may I just find out if the name was redacted from witness Jay's testimony, transcript of his testimony that went out to the media Monday morning?
So, Chair, the nickname was not redacted. The full name was redacted, and we also only seek to mention the nickname or the shortened name, not the full name and the surname, Chair. But that's the answer. That it's out there in the public anyway. The nickname that I seek to refer to, as it will give context to what we are dealing with.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you wish to respond to what Mr. Musigidi said, Mr. Duplessis?
Thank you, Chair. Well, with respect, the motivation by the witness as to why this evidence should not be openly given.
The name, just the name.
Yes, just the
Yes,
name.
yes.
The motivation is clearly personal safety. And unless it is highly relevant why the name should be canvassed, why should it, and why should the witness's safety be compromised? So even if it was in another context, or even the same context mentioned by other witnesses, is not to say that this witness should be required to openly state the name and interaction he had.
Thank you, Mr. Du Plessis. Oh,
Mr. Du Plessis, even if this name, as contained in the statement, is not mentioned, there will be exchanges in the evidence that the evidence leader is going to be taking the witness through, which are exchanges between the witness and the owner of this name. And for those exchanges to make sense, at the very least, it does need to say who the conversation was with. So you may avoid it here, like we did when he was reading the statement. But if there's going to be qualitative discussion of their exchanges on WhatsApp, on which the witness will be required to comment, it seems it may be unavoidable.
Yes, Madam Commissioner, I then suggest that at that stage, if it does come up, we deal with it then. But at this stage, I can't see that it now has to be put on record. Let us see how the questioning develops.
Thank you.
yes, the practical difficulty, as Commissioner Baloy says, is that at a certain stage, the texts do refer to this name in so many ways. So I don't quite get why the witness would, this is in communications that involve this witness. So basically what the text will be showing is that Mr. Nku was communicating with this witness.
Thank you, Chair. I cannot take it further. Then we await your ruling in this regard.
Yes. Anything else, Mr. Musigiti?
Chair, those are our submissions. Safe to add that we did have a discussion with Mr. Nku's legal representatives about a week ago to say that if there is any threat or any evidence that needs to be protected out of fear of or protection of his life, then they must bring an application and we'll consider it on its merits, Chair. And none of that happened, Chairperson. So we took it that they are happy to proceed as things stand, Chair. So those are our last submissions, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Nku, it does not seem to make much practical sense for the name not to be mentioned, because it's mentioned several times in the texts that appear to be texts between you and this person. So if there are going to be issues, there will be issues even at that stage, because it won't make sense for us or rather for the Commission to say there were communications between Mr. Nku and an unnamed person. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much, Chair. Chair, though I have concerns, my biggest concerns were the name being mentioned relative to the other names. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, let's go.
Because
Please take us to the relevant paragraph again, where this was first raised.
It's paragraph 3 in the supplementary.
3 supplementary.
Sorry, Commissioner Balwe?
Paragraph 3 in the supplementary statement.
Paragraph 3 in the supplementary.
On page 1.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner. It's under 3, I think it's the last paragraph.
Well, remember when you were reading this paragraph, on the first page, page 1, there's that April 2021, and then you skipped that name.
Yes.
You don't have a difficulty with mentioning that name.
No, I have a difficulty mentioning that name relative to the others. So I was going to finish the evidence. Hence, I said that if it is evidence or information that one might is inclined to providing on camera, not in a public setting. So there is another name. There's another person mentioned there, but the name is not mentioned in what I write there in paragraph 3.
Where you talk about a particular individual,
A
is that
particular
the other
individual,
name?
precisely, Chair.
Mr. Musigidi, did you raise this issue in relation to these paragraphs, or were you concerned more about what's contained in the texts?
Chair, it was not even related to this paragraph. It was completely to the information that he specifically, because remember he had provided these names already. It was really in relation to anything else he felt that would compromise his safety.
But I understand, Mr. Nku, now to say he has no problem with the name being mentioned in the context of the several chats where this name may be appearing. Would that be fine for now? At least for us to proceed, and we can, yeah. Yeah.
We can't avoid it, Chair, indefinitely.
Okay.
I'm happy to take that for now and
Yeah, all right.
Yes.
Let's proceed on that basis then.
thank you, Chair. Then, Mr. Nku, the question really would have been that in your first statement, you state that you came across information from a confidential source. And then in your supplementary statement, you now introduced this person by name as an original source of information. And the real question was that why was his name not mentioned in your first statement?
Chair, apologies. The reasons are precisely what I just stated.
Yes, but the same thread that you say existed when you first drafted your original statement still exists or existed when you submitted your second statement. Nothing
Yes.
had changed.
But the difference is in elaborating further. One further states and makes a note, not for the names to be spoken publicly or to be placed on record publicly. Even on that statement, this was more of providing clarity to the Commission. In my initial statement, I was never given guidance as to how to draft the statement, as I had done it alone. However, in the supplementary statement, to a greater extent, there was guidance provided because I'd engaged with the evidence leaders along with the legal team. So I did not know how detailed must the statement be. I thought I was answering questions because there were questions posed on the initial statement.
Chair, may I, with all respect to the evidence leader, I think it's important to have context in as much it may be important as to why it wasn't mentioned, that as I understand it, the first statement was made available to the Commission, to the evidence leaders. Then there was a consultation with the witness. I'm not sure who was present, whether the current evidence leader was the person who attended if I understand correctly, a virtual consultation. And then certain aspects were raised where further information was sought by the evidence leaders. So that's the context. And to now ask why certain of the further evidence or information required wasn't mentioned in the first affidavit, I can really not see where it takes us and what the importance of that would be.
But surely now you are dealing with a different issue, because the issue you are raising, the witness can answer that. The witness can say the reason why that is not in the first statement is because of this and this and that. I thought the issue we were debating was whether the names should be mentioned or disclosed. The issue you are covering, the witness has already dealt with that.
Thank you.
Mr. Masigiri, under what question would this have fallen in the first statement? Yes. Yeah.
So, Chair, we're dealing with the question of, so it's 2.1, and that will relate to, so it's on page 1 of his first statement. It's really the question of source of information.
Mr. Msikiri, isn't it better perhaps or more efficient if there is a particular proposition or suggestion that you want to make with this question, that you do that and then let the witness answer? If there is a suggestion that you're seeking to make.
And also, I read the paragraph you referred to, 2.1, to be specific as to certain information that was informed or that was obtained. What was the sort of that specific information? And I understand him under paragraph 1 to be dealing generally with how he would source information. My work has also included the real-time tracking of information in support of law enforcement investigations. So in that sense, I'm not sure that the question is a fair one.
No, Chair, 2.1, it deals with a specific incident. It says that I first became aware of the potential shipment during the last week of April 2021 through confidential source. So it is specific to this particular shipment.
And how is that last sentence that you've been engaging him relevant to that?
Chair, then in supplementary affidavit, then that's when this name is now mentioned for the first time, Chair, in his supplementary statement. Yes, Chair.
I thought we had resolved the issue of the name.
Yes, Chair, not the name, but the
Yeah.
context of the
You
source
just
of information.
referred to the name
The
now.
name, yes,
You
not the
just
yes.
You just referred to the name.
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
Yes, so no, we're dealing with, not mentioned as to why the name was withheld. Remember, we're dealing with the issue of,
Perhaps may we come back to this much later? Can you deal with other points you
yes,
want
Chair, we can move on to the next point.
Yes.
And then maybe I can deal with the issue of the propositions that we need to put to the witness. So, Mr. Nku, the proposition that we would put to you and solicit your comment is that when one considers your supplementary statement, it contains several important facts that were not included in your original statement. And those facts would include your alleged intelligence background, the source that the name will not mention. You also, for the first time, mentioned the zero-day exploit method. And also, you mentioned your previous intelligence operations and forensic allegations. And we will be submitting that those are not minor details, but quite significant to your evidence. And we're saying, apart from the questions that we have put to you, is there any reason why this material information was not included when you were first contacted by the Commission?
Commissioners, yes, I've already alluded. Upon our consultation with the evidence leaders, there was a point raised that my statement is short and not detailed. And guidance was given. I remember my counsel who was with us on the virtual meeting asked clarity-seeking questions as to exactly what points need to be addressed so that when one makes or drafts the supplementary statement, all those issues are traversed and they are cleared. As I said, Advocate Musikidi, that when the Commission served me with the questions initially, I had not been given guidance as to how to provide answers. So I did not detail as probably much as I should have had. It was only upon when there was a clarity from the evidence leaders as to the fact that I should give as much detail as possible pertaining to my recollection of the event.
All right, now we'll make our closing remarks when we finish your testimony, and then maybe you can have a better answer. Now, there has been information and testimony to this commission to the effect that there has been a suggestion that you are a confidential informant, and we want to test that theory. Chairperson, we have made available to the chair a copy, and Mr. Nku should have one as well. It looks like this.
CJC 337.
It's CJC 37, and it says secret on top, and it's got a SAPS logo. And it's called, so this is the cover page of the Operational Management Process for Crime Intelligence Collection Environment, inside its division Crime Intelligence. Chairperson, we don't intend on going through the entire prescripts, but we want to highlight and then put those to the witness to try and deal with the notion that he is somehow a confidential informant. And Chair will see that we have only extracted the relevant pages, Chairperson, that we want to make reference to. Mr. Could you have the document in front of you?
Yes, I do, Chair.
Yes, so what we want to point your attention to is on page 51, and this deals with the process of recruiting informants. And the first one is the what we say it's a profiling. So a talent is spotted first, and then a profile is created on that specific individual or a group of people that might be obtained to identify it as being of potential assistance to the service. And then you'll see right at the bottom there it says recruitment approach strategies. Again, so there they mention the different approaches how to approach a potential informant. And then you will see that at the bottom we have what you call planning of recruitment. And then on page 53, you will see there on top we have what you call the actual recruitment. And they say this is the most sensitive stage of recruitment process where the potential human source is met face-to-face in order to convince him or her to provide information voluntarily regarding the identified threat or target. And then you will see right at the bottom there is what you say is the role of the handler. And on page 54, you will see that it says that the handler is responsible for the achievement of set objectives in establishing, managing, and maintenance of intelligence network. And of acute importance is bullet point 1, where it says, so it deals with the responsibilities of a handler in respect of human source include the following: ensuring professional conduct at all times. Unacceptable conduct between the handler and the human source includes socializing, romantic involvement, purchasing from or selling to, borrowing money, accepting gifts, paying monies to human source without a witness. And then what is also important for this matter, at the bottom again, you'll see that it deals with the registration, where it says after the profile for potential human source has been evaluated, the human source is recruited and registered according to the prescribed procedures. And then it then makes reference to the prescribed registration form. And on page 55, you will see the form of an informant registration, where one is allocated an informant number, and often there will be an official name, and sometimes also there will be an alias name. And then if you go to page 60, you will see that there's also an undertaking rendering the services. So what I've given you, or at least what I'm pointing out to you, is a overview of what at least it requires to be an agent. And Chair, perhaps can you go to page 63 of that document? And then it deals there with agent provocator, or called a provocation line. And it says the following constitute a transgression of the provocation line: unauthorized involvement of the registered human source in acts of violence or any other criminal acts, for example, procurement, transporting, storing, or dealing in weapons or drugs. And these activities would necessitate a course of action to be taken against such informant. Now, the question I'm putting to you, and Chair, if you go on and read the prescripts, also deals with the circumstances where an informant will be rewarded and under what those circumstances are, Chairperson. Mr. Nku, my question to you is this. Have you ever been registered as an official SAPS informant?
No, Chair.
Then that means you've never been issued with an informant number.
I was never issued with an informant number.
Yes.
Yes.
And you were never then, as a result, never assigned a handler to deal with you?
Officially, I was never assigned a handler.
No, what do you mean officially?
So,
If you agree with me that you were never registered as an informant, you were never given an informant number, maybe I should ask you a further question. Have you ever signed a source handler agreement with SAPS?
no, I've never, Chair.
So my next question then is that you have never assigned, you could never have been assigned a handler in those circumstances. Do you agree?
I agree.
Thank you. And in those circumstances, then you'll agree with me that Lieutenant General Mfazi could not have been mistaken at any stage to be your handler.
No, I've never stated that he's my handler.
Yes.
So,
And similarly, any suggestion that General Mashaba or Chief Mashaba could have at any point been considered or at least referred to as your handler, that also will be completely incorrect.
knowing that he is not a SAPS member, in the context of SAPS, I don't think that would be a case. As far as my recollection serves me well, I regarded myself as his confidential source, not a handler informal relationship.
Yes.
Yes. As a source of information.
Now, you mentioned earlier on that you have previously been compensated for providing intelligence. You remember that?
Before you ask that, let me, along the lines of what you were discussing, you, in the supplementary affidavit, you say, my work has also included the real-time tracking of information in support of law enforcement investigations. Now, what the impression that is created to me, and I think that it does create, is you have a formal working relationship with law enforcement investigations. Do you care to explain more what you mean in support of law enforcement investigations?
Commissioner Baloyi, when one states that, one is not insinuating that one has a formal relationship with any law enforcement agency within our jurisdiction. However, as I've already alluded earlier on, that post the July 9 drug bust, one has continued in the efforts of providing information to certain law enforcement members. So maybe when one forwards the documents requested by Advocate Musikidi, that matter will be clarified.
Yeah. Well, there's hopefully it will be clarified, but when you say my work has also included, my work here suggests a formal arrangement. It's not you're casual, you happen to come upon. That's not what you're conveying here, or at least that's not my understanding. It was never my understanding of it. It's not you casually, you get information and you casually pass it on. It's part of the work you do, and you do it in support of law enforcement investigations. Then the question that necessarily comes up is, well, who are the law enforcement people, or even agencies, if you like, that you are supporting? You've testified, you've said it's Mashaba. And if you say it's post the incident, we know it's not General Mfazi because he had passed around that time of this incident. So we know you're not talking about General Mfazi. You're speaking just about Chief Mashaba, right?
If I may, Commissioner.
Yes, you may.
As I've already alluded to, post July 9, when one was now fully cognizant of the duties of Chief Mashaba, I've provided information elsewhere. And an example would be the DPCI member that I spoke of.
I think you said Captain Norji.
Yes, Commissioner.
Is he the only one that you've provided information to post the July 9 incident?
I wouldn't say Captain Norji is the only one. I have continued to provide information to other members.
Let me say this to you, or put this out so that you have the chance to deal with it as long as you're still on the witness stand, not necessarily now. We have had evidence that suggests your involvement in other activities with Chief Mashaba, right? And so when you say you support law enforcement investigations, it is important, at least to me, to know what are you speaking about? What law enforcement people are you talking about, or agencies? What other investigations are you talking about? When are these? So that, because maybe they explain the other evidence that we've received about your involvement in other activities. Maybe they don't, but they help us understand your involvement with if not Chief Mashaba, any other law enforcement officer. Yeah, I'm sure you've been following the events in this commission, so you know the evidence of Chief Mashaba, which places you in certain positions. So consider my question in that context, that it is to understand the fullness of your involvement with what you say is support of law enforcement investigations. And it's a particularly important question to me because you are not a registered, well, maybe not even registered, you're not an informer as informally, you're not an informant, a registered informant. So it's important to understand your exact role in what you describe as support of law enforcement investigations. That's the context of my question.
Commissioner Balui, maybe one must start by qualifying the activities or efforts towards becoming a formal informant. From what I understood, one needed to prove themselves at first. That's what I was told. To provide solid information to prove your credibility. But that got lost along the way because the person that I was supposed to be providing information to, then there ended up being favors sought between us. So the project of one building up to become an informant got lost along the way. And when one encountered a general emphasis there was still to build rapport, because we were still at that phase where one builds rapport with the eventuality, because I know my access to information in terms of the access that I bring to crucial information. It would have been fruitful long term. So what I mean to say is the activities prior to or post July 9 are still towards those efforts. Albeit I don't get myself involved in anything. If there is information sought about following up leads, then I may provide that. I can do reconnaissance and provide that information. Hence, I've said I will make those examples available, practical examples available to the evidence leaders for a deduction to be made as to whether or not the information that I provide is, as I say it is. I don't know if I make sense, Commissioner Wale.
Well, I think for present purposes we can move, but I just want to commit you in your offer to provide us with information that you are scheduled for today and tomorrow. I want to put you under the pressure that you provide us with the details of who are the officers that you have provided information to and what investigations were these, and we should have that before you testify tomorrow morning with the chair's permission. I see he nods.
No, yeah. In fact, during the time when we were asking only questions seeking clarity, I actually engaged you on this, and you gave me just one name, Officer Norche. I don't remember you giving me any other, so I agree. Please be ready with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I do this?
Sorry. Include the dates, even if it's not an exact date. If you say this was in May 2022, that's sufficient.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Nku, good afternoon. I want us to clear up this issue of what you are doing before 9 July 2021. I think you've accepted that you have never been recruited as an informant and you've never been registered as an informant.
I agree, Commissioner.
Yes.
Kumalo.
So you could never have been a subs informant. Now we go to Chief Mashaba, and paragraph 2.2 of your original statement helps because you say prior to 9 July 2021, which is the period that is of particular use to us. Your relationship with him was that of a professional acquaintance. That's what you say?
Yes.
So I take it from that he never recruited you as an informant.
No, he
never recruited you.
No, he never recruited me. It was, I exchanged information with him. There was never a formal engagement.
And he never paid you either for the information you gave him?
No, he's never.
And it was up to you, if you had information, whether you want to give it to him or not.
Precisely.
So you never had an obligation to give him information, even if you were aware of criminality. There was nothing that bound you to give information to him. Correct?
I would say that.
Yes. And he couldn't say to you, you have breached our agreement if you didn't give him information relating to criminality.
Correct.
Because there was no such obligation.
Precisely.
Yes. And I need your assistance here. I'm speaking for my co-commissioners and Mr. Musikiri. there seems to be an issue with the transcription. So please wait for the question to be completed, and then you will see a nod from us. That's usually a cue to you to then start your answer, because it appears that we keep interrupting each other and the transcription reflects that. And it is not your fault, so I'm just saying from now on going forward, you'll see the nod, then that means you can answer the question. And I think that's the best way of maybe dealing with it going forward. So wait for the question to be completed, then you'll see the nod, and then you can answer. And we will all try to remember that.
Oh, thanks for the note.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Nku, you stated that previously you have been compensated for providing intelligence. Do you recall that?
I do recall that.
Yes. Who paid you? Can you share that information?
That information may be shared confidentially because it involves consultation with foreign intelligence agencies. The details to that I'm willing to provide to the commission,
Sorry,
not on a public sitting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please finish the sentence.
Oh, sorry. I was saying the details pertaining to such, because of the nature of the information provided or sought, it's not for public consumption, and there are NCNDAs to the tune.
I'm interested in the foreign intelligence agency part. What are you saying about that exactly in the context of you receiving payment?
Information, basic consultation provided to foreign intelligence agencies have resulted in remuneration.
Or you were paid abroad?
For consultations done with foreign entities.
Oh, and in South Africa?
Oh, in South Africa, I haven't been formally paid.
In South Africa, you were not paid.
I haven't been paid in South Africa.
Okay.
But you see, where in your supplementary statement you make that statement about being paid, you were answering a question. What was your interest in following up on the information on the 9th? That's what you were being asked. That is
Yes.
on page 4 of your supplementary statement. And then you say in paragraph 2, and I'm reading from the third line, you say, beyond that, my motivations remained consistent with a confidential source who expected to be rewarded for giving executable information, which led to a successful discovery, as I have in the past been compensated for providing crucial information. So, the sentence that reads, my motivation remained consistent with a confidential source who expected to be rewarded for giving executable information, which led to a successful recovery, is you expected. This is where you're explaining why you were disinterested in this bust, following up on it, and you say, I had the expectation to be paid as a confidential source. That's how you're answering that question. You're not distinguishing domestic and foreign intelligence agencies.
So maybe I need to clarify that, Commissioner Balui. That's why at the end maybe I qualify with engagement with foreign entities. So I do not make any claim that I have been paid previously by our local law enforcement for following up on information. For me, that was something that is, I'm still building rapport.
So with that answer then, we must then delete for that answer to stand. And I want to see how whether you have actually answered the question after the deletion. That answer must mean you delete everything in that paragraph, second paragraph that's it. Beyond that, my motivation remained consistent with a confidential source who expected to be rewarded. If you were not expecting to be paid, then that part up to the end of that paragraph should not be there, because it has nothing to do with why were you interested to follow up on this information on the 9th. You can, just delete it in your mind and then see, and then try and see what I'm saying.
Please direct me to that paragraph, Commissioner Baloyi.
Paragraph 6 is your supplementary statement.
Also supplementary.
Paragraph 6 at page 4. You were asked the question, what was my interest in following up on the information on the 9th?
Mm-hmm.
So the 9th is the day of the operation, and the evidence is you were there throughout, including at the scene itself. Then you start off by saying, as with numerous previous occasions on which I had voluntarily furnished intelligence to law enforcement agencies in the hope that it would contribute to successful operational outcomes, my interest in following up on the information that ultimately led to the Eraton drug bust was no different. That's paragraph 1. The second paragraph, you said the principal distinction in this instance was the sheer magnitude of the narcotics ultimately recovered, notwithstanding the fact that we unfortunately lost visibility of the arms trafficking component of the intelligence. And then you say, beyond that, my motivation remained consistent with a confidential source who expected to be rewarded for giving executable information which led to a successful discovery. So up to that point, and a reasonable reading is that is your answer to, that is part of your answer to why were you following up on this information on the 9th. I see you want to say something. Yes.
Commissioner Baloyi, I believe when we went through the statement earlier on through Chair, there was additional context added after crucial information, following up crucial information for other intelligence agencies. Yes.
As I have in the past been compensated for providing crucial information for
other intelligence agencies.
Yeah, but that doesn't change what I'm raising with you.
Okay.
It doesn't. The point I'm making to you is you now say, where you talk about compensation, you are speaking about work that you do for other agencies, foreign agencies. Am I understanding you correctly? That to now be your evidence?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. So I'm prepared for purposes of my engagement with you to delete the part of that paragraph which talks about compensation to you, because now you tell us you did not expect compensation for this drug bust.
Yes, Commissioner.
Am I correct?
Yes,
you did not expect compensation. So what then is your answer to the question that was asked of you? Why were you following up on the information on the 9th itself, when you followed up, when you became part of the entourage that ends up at Scania? What is your answer for doing that, for your being there? Not just at Scania, but following up all the way up to where you land, ending up parked at the Scania property.
So my reason for following up on information still remains the same, that with information provided serving as positive and a successful operation, the information leads to a successful operation. the promises that were made for me in the past will come to fruition, in a sense that, hence I said promises were made that I would eventually become a paid confidential source. So,
Okay, that's your explanation now, but how does that explain, how is that an answer that on the 9th you followed up, you were present, you have provided the information. Chief Mashaba knows that you've provided the information to him if he's the correct person that you're seeking to impress. The question still remains, why are you there? Why are you when they go to Yellow Jersey, you wait for them. When they move from Yellow Jersey, you're escorting them, you're going with them. When they get to Scania, you drive in with them, you park. We know later on that you actually take pictures or a video because you tell us that. And the question remains, you've given the information, so Chief Mashaba knows that you're a good person. You give information and it turns out to be good, and the drugs are discovered based on your information. It still doesn't explain why are you there on the day. And the question was for you to explain why you were following up on this on the 9th.
So to clarify that, Commissioner Baloyi, initially on the 9th, maybe let's start at Yellow Jersey. My presence at Yellow Jersey was for me to point out or give the location, point out. And in my understanding, my presence should have been limited to that and left it at that, basically. Because the scene that I provided was Yellow Jersey. That's the information that I provided. It ought to have limited itself to Yellow Jersey, and I was of the impression that a operation was going to be conducted at Yellow Jersey. However, a decision was taken, and I would deem myself a bystander to that decision, because upon Chief Mashaba's return with Warrant Officer Mokhana, I was instructed to follow by Chief Mashaba. I did inquire that, okay, but why? I've provided you information. Why? And you said members are coming, because basically that he had expressed that they'll go and check, and then more members will come in. But to my surprise, they went out. Upon inquiring, he just told me to follow him. They are going to inspect the truck in Aerotin.
The question remains: why do you follow? You've identified the truck. You've given them the full details. Now it's in the hands of the police. And for purpose of my engagement with you, I'm going to assume these are legitimate police officers. You've given them information. You don't doubt that they're legitimate police officers. The question remains, why are you following them? And you can't say he's instructed you, because I'm going to counter and say, but he's not your boss. You could have driven off if you wanted to. He wouldn't arrest you. He wouldn't beat you up. So that's not a good enough answer if your answer is he instructed me. So the question remains, and this is the question that was asked for you to address in the statement. It's not a new question. And you had given an answer which on the face of it looked like a good enough answer. I expected to be rewarded. I don't think one could quarrel with that as a source of information, but as you being the source. But now you've told us that's not why you were there. You were not expecting to be paid. You've given the information. Why are you going with them to Scania? Why do you get into the property? Why do you park? Why are you taking pictures? What's your interest?
Thank you very much, Commissioner Baloi. Commissioner Baloi, maybe one needs to go back and clarify the issue of me not seeking payment. Not at that juncture. I'm still building myself towards that. It's not that one does not want compensation at all if one provides crucial information. But I understand it's a process. The issue of me being present, I do not limit it to an instruction. However, as I've already alluded earlier on, that I've provided information before and was told that that never happened. And alas, I see in the media that information became successful. So my notion was to be there in the vicinity at Yellow. Basically, I was very far from Yellow Chase. I wasn't even within the Yellow Chase vicinity. I had parked 500 meters and more away from Yellow Chase. Had I seen more police officers coming in, I would have definitely have vacated. Then my information is positive. My expectation was, as Chief Mashava had already alluded to the fact that if the information checks out, more members will start coming in. That was my expectation. I never expected myself to end up in Scania. And for me to follow up into Scania itself, I would guess it extends to curiosity, whether my information checks out. Because for me to be left behind also, I would have actually expected to, from the Yellow Jersey, maybe to go to Albertine Police Station. I wouldn't be in the vicinity, but at least I would know whether or not there was a success with more members coming in.
So, are you saying you became part of that entourage that ends up at Scania out of curiosity to make sure or to see that these drugs are properly handled? Sorry, I'm confused about your answer.
Okay. Commissioner Baloi, I become part of the entourage, not being curious to see any contents being handled, but curious to see that the information checks out. Because I wouldn't have, in the past, it had happened that, as I said with Chief Marshal, I give information, I know that information pans out, and then he says nothing happened.
So even if Chief Mashaba hadn't, you say he instructed you to come, even if he hadn't instructed you to go with, you would still have gone because you are curious and you want to see that this ends up in the right hands. The right hands being the police. You say, had you seen that there are more police officers arriving, you would have left. Is that what you're saying now?
If Chief Mashaba hadn't instructed me to take along, I don't think I would have taken along because I do not know the protocols of law enforcement, what is required. So him giving that instruction, in my mind, extending to the curiosity, in my mind, it was okay, it's okay. you can tag along. Because he expressed that come with and then stay in your car.
You see, Chief Mashaba was asked this question because it is an important question. Why if Mr. Nku is an informer, why is he part of this? And his answer was, you asked to join. It was that simple an answer that he gave. He said he was there because he asked to join us. What do you say to that?
Commissioner Baloyi, Chief Mashaba might have mistaken, because if I asked, I would have went with them into Yellow Jersey. Because if the vested interest was seeing, that means from the initial point, I would have driven with them into Yellow Jersey. Hence, I say my queue was seeing. Apologies. Was seeing other police cars coming in. That was my cue to say that the operation is a success.
So he was not, on your account, Chief Mashaba was not truthful when he said you asked.
He might have mistaken.
He's not mistaken, he was being untruthful.
He was being untruthful. I didn't ask to tag along.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just to complete that last exchange, just for your benefit, to read what Chief Mashaba said. He says, well, so this is from the transcript. He says, well, Mr. Nku asked me that it would be a problem for me to accompany you guys because other informations I have give other people. I get to be told that they were unsuccessful, or I get to be told stories or excuses. Can I come with you guys? I said, I do not see a problem because I know I have worked with you a lot before, and I know I worked with a lot of police that comes with their informers. The only thing I said to him, please make sure you sit in your car and you do not participate.
Is your mic on?
It is on, Chair. Apologies. I was reading far from the laptop. Apologies.
Yeah.
But I was putting on record that
Is
the nub of it really is
it
that.
not practical to flight this?
Chair, I'll try and get it up.
Thank you.
The essence of it really is that Mr. Mashaba is quite clear that you requested to come. And we'll try and find evidence of Warrant Officer Mahan as well, who, if I remember very well, said the same thing. And I will be saying to you that it's improbable that they could both say the same thing about you, and you could be the only one who's correct when they say you insisted on coming, and you gave reasons as to why you wanted to come. So you did not just want to come out of curiosity, you gave reasons why you needed to come. What is your comment?
Chair, as I've said before, if I wanted to be part of an operation, I would have driven in with them into the Yellow Jersey Company. However, my role was limited to pointing and providing to the information. Hence, I stayed behind and awaited an instruction. So, as far as it relates to me, being the one to be upfront and say that I want to tag along, I put it to you, Advocate Msikiri, that it isn't probable.
No, you can't put to me. I'm asking the questions, so please resist on that and focus on the question.
Apologies.
And I'll say that coupled with your curiosity that you yourself confessed, this answer by Chief Mashaba is more probable than your answer to say that he instructed you. The only instructions he gave you is that you must sit in the car and not join them as they go inside to search the truck. But that's my proposition to you, that You had a reason, you provided a reason. You also said now, when you testified, that you had a curiosity, hence you were there. So coupled with that, the only instructions was for you to stay in the car. But anything else, you insisted on coming. And we'll get to the question as to why you insisted on coming, to seeing through this operation. Do you want to comment?
I'll repeat this, commissioners. If I wanted to be part of the operation, why not do it at the point of origin, at Yellow Jersey? Because that would imply I knew that they were going to release the truck to go out. There's a decision they took void of my presence. So if they had taken the intel, called all the relevant people there at Yellow Jersey, they wouldn't have had to be a need for me to tag along, because there was never prior communication or any communication while they were at Yellow Jersey. From what I gathered after the fact was there was an agreement reached with the management of Yellow Jersey, but the decision not to conduct the operation in Yellow Jersey was taken void of my presence. So the scene, I still maintain this, Advocate Musikidi, that the scene that I provided was Yellow Jersey Logistics. That's the scene that I provided to Chief Mashaba. That's why all the relevant information was given to the tune. It relates to Yellow Jersey Logistics. To move the scene elsewhere, it's a decision taken in my absence. And for me to suddenly want to tag along when I wasn't even part in the first place, for me, it wouldn't make sense.
No. I'm going to give you my last comment on this one, and then we move on. And I've said to you, you gave reasons to Mashaba as to why you want to follow through and follow them to the second scene. And you also testified here now that you also held a particular curiosity to see this process to the end. And I will be making submissions at the end to say there are other more sinister reasons as to why you had to see this thing to the end. Okay. And I would ask you, could there be any possible reason why Chief Mashaba would ask you to follow, or instruct you, in fact, to follow them? What would your role be there if he was to ask you to come? Because you served no purpose. You've provided all the information, it's positive. He had no reason whatsoever. Can you come up with one reason why he wants you to be there?
So, may I? Okay. So, I draw the reason from what transpired at the scene itself in Aeroton, because when we were at Aeroton, I think that there's an instant when it had just been before the arrival of Warrant Officer Pakula. I requested to leave. I requested Chief Mashaba to leave. And the reason provided was wait for the crime scene manager. He might have questions for you.
You see, that's my difficulty with your testimony all along, is that you tailor evidence as you go by. None of the witnesses who came to testify, not Chief Mashaba, said anything about you leaving. You have provided 3 statements. None of those statements mention you ever wanting to leave. It is now that you are cornered as to why you insisted on being there. You are being faced with black and white evidence as to why you insisted on being there. Now you are giving us completely new evidence that, in fact, at some stage, you wanted to be relinquished. And I put it to you, that is a typical case of tailoring evidence as you go. And that is highly unsustainable because it is not supported by the true facts.
Commissioners, as far as my recollection serves me well, and I don't know why Chief Mashaba hasn't stated this. I made a call to him while we were at the scene. While I was sitting in my car, if my memory served me well, I did make a call to Chief Mashaba to make such a request.
You may have made that kind of call, but I think the point is it does not make sense that Chief Mashaba would invite you to go to the scene, or to use your language, instruct you, because you serve no purpose. On your own account, you say, and his account, forget that who asked or who invited, but both of you have one thing consistent, which is you will sit in your car.
Yes.
Now, that's common cause between the two of you. You will sit in your car. Then why would he instruct you to come with? You've given them the details of the vehicle. You can see it. There's the truck with the container. You can see, there's the truck. You have all the details. So you have nothing more to add to this story. So it doesn't make sense that he would instruct you to come with. But even on his version, it doesn't make sense. If everything is innocent, even on his version, it doesn't make sense that you would ask to go with. On both your versions, it doesn't make sense. The truth lies somewhere else. Why? How you end up there, not on these 2 versions. Because you've done your job. You've given them the information. You are an informer. You get told, sit in the car. There's no explanation at this point from you and Chief Mashaba. What purpose would you serve? You give us at least an idea. You say, I wanted to see that the drugs that I have identified, and I was curious. You attempt to give us an explanation as you're sitting there. And I suspect that is closer to the truth than anything. The question will be, what is the reason for that? But I think it's closer to the truth. You saying, I wanted to see that the drugs that I have identified are in fact taken, and they're taken by the correct people. That's closer to the truth than your curiosity story and him saying you asked and he said, well, I see nothing wrong with it. You want to say something?
Thank you, Commissioner Baloi. Commissioners, my issue, hence I albeit Advocate Musikiri has an apprehension that I'm tailor-making evidence. But my issue to raise this point was from the initial point of leaving Yellow Jersey Logistics. I assume after the fact that maybe the reason why Chief Mashaba might have wanted me was for this crime scene manager, because that's what stopped me from leaving.
No, the assumption is wrong, because one, that's not his evidence, but also his evidence is that he and Warrant Officer Mahano were sufficient. They were going to take those drugs, and their plan, I think he said, they were either, one of them said we'll take them to Zonkizizo, another one said we'd have taken them to Alberton. That was his original plan. But also, he said he didn't want anyone else to know about these drugs. And we had a lengthy debate with him about this bust. He didn't tell his superiors, he didn't tell anybody because he doesn't trust people. You warned him that these drugs belong or involve some senior people in the SAPS, so he was quite careful who to involve. Your assumption, therefore, doesn't hold that he wanted to spread the word and involve other people. It was his Mahano's operation and yours. You were the only 3 people until the party was broken up by police officers and others arriving.
Commissioners, the reason why I would have Commissioners, my issue, hence I albeit Advocate Musikiri has an apprehension that I'm tailor-making evidence. But my issue to raise this point was from the initial point of leaving Yellow Jersey Logistics. I assume after the fact that maybe the reason why Chief Mashaba might have wanted me was for this crime scene manager, because that's what stopped me from leaving.
No, the assumption is wrong because, one, that's not his evidence, but also his evidence is that he and Warrant Officer Mahano were sufficient. They were going to take those drugs, and their plan, I think he said, they were either, one of them said we'll take them to Zonkizizo, another one said we'd have taken them to Alberton. That was his original plan. But also, he said he didn't want anyone else to know about these drugs. And we had a lengthy debate with him about this bust. He didn't tell his superiors, he didn't tell anybody, because he doesn't trust people. You warned him that these drugs belong or involve some senior people in the SAPS, so he was quite careful who to involve. Your assumption, therefore, doesn't hold that he wanted to spread the word and involve other people. It was his Mahano's operation and yours. You were the only 3 people until the party was broken up by police officers and others arriving.
Commissioners, the reason why I would have, or rather, the reason why I called Chief Mashaba, amongst other things, at the last moment. Hence, I said because someone else was supposed to assemble a team to run the operation. Chief Mashaba had in the past alluded to the fact that he also works closely with the then provincial commissioner, and there are joint operations done and whatnot. Why would I say then don't tell anyone, knowing that there is someone that he obviously works closely with, who would be the provincial commissioner, and when other role players are called, for me it gives me confidence that maybe it might have went through the channels that he had already reiterated in the past. Because I have given information to him, and it was said that no, execution was done through the provincial commissioner.
So you deny that you told him that these drugs that you were informing about, that these drugs belong to or involve senior members of law enforcement, and he should not share this information, or he should be careful who he shares it with. You deny that you said that to him.
So I do not deny that. What I deny is instructing or I would say giving him an instruction of not involving high-ranking officials. While at the back of my mind, I knew that there had been an operation that was conducted through a high-ranking official, which he seems to be conducting joint operations with. So the warning was limited to be careful who you disseminate the information to, because I knew in my mind that there is already rapport with him and the provincial commissioner at the time. So ideally, the first point of contact, the provincial commissioner would have been there also.
So if he said to us that you warned or cautioned him not to share the information with senior officials because they have an interest in these drugs, that would be incorrect. You didn't say that to him.
You would have misunderstood me.
Or he would have been dishonest with us. Either he misunderstood you in what you conveyed, or he in fact understood you and lied to us to say that's what you said. One of it, either or. Could be any one of the two.
I'll limit it to saying he might have misunderstood me. Because in my mind, I knew that he was already working with the provincial commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Nku, to be fair to you, when this line of questioning started, you were referred to the transcript. I appreciate that you don't have it in front of you. So there's a screen to your left where you will see that Ms. Ngube, the evidence leader, specifically asked Mr. Mashaba, why was Mr. Nku going with you from Yellow Jersey to Aeroton? And then Mr. Chief Mashaba's answer follows from line 9. You'll see the 10 just on the left of the screen. So the line before that is line 9 of that page of the transcript. And the answer he gives is, well, Mr. Nku asked me that, will it be a problem for me to accompany you guys? Because other information that I gave to other people, I get to be told they were unsuccessful, or I get to be told stories or excuses. Do you see that?
Yes, indeed.
So the question that was asked was, that is not what happened. So he's either mistaken or being untruthful when he says that.
I would say he would be mistaken. Because I do not...
Please speak up. You sort of... No, let's not speak at the same time. You sort of whispered when you were looking at the screen. What were you saying?
Apologies, Chair. I wanted to say, I would say he would be mistaken. Because
mistaken or untruthful?
Commissioner Kumalo, I would say he's mistaken either way, but I would say he's mistaken.
But you never asked. That's the bottom.
No, I didn't. I still maintain this, commissioners. If I really wanted to be part, then why not do it at the first instance? Why not be part because where I provided information, I'm certain that everything is there inside in Yellow Jersey. I should have been part from the onset. I should have went in with them. That's where I feel that if I needed or wanted to be part, I should have rather been part at Yellow Jersey, not after the fact, at Scania, because I never had any prior discussions regarding Scania. I was just told after the fact when moving out that we are going to everything.
That answer does not help you because there was no operation at Yellow Jersey. They went and they asked management to open the container. Management refused. So we don't know what would have happened if management had agreed that they should open the container. For all we know, they could have called you to come in. So it doesn't help you to say, well, the operation, had it happened there, this is what would have happened. We know it did not happen there. And the reasons given were that management at Yellow Jersey refused to allow them to open the container. But the point is, you were at Yellow Jersey, you briefed them, you are the one who told them to come there. They found you there. So there was no reason for them to drive with you to Yellow Jersey. You were already there waiting for them. Yes.
Apologies, Commissioners. No, they did not find me there. They drove with me there. So I met with Chief Mashaba elsewhere. I believe it was at the filling station. So him and I drove towards Yellow Jersey. I had sent him the location, but I guess he maybe didn't pay attention to the location because he wanted me to point him to Yellow Jersey. So we actually, him and I drove, and I parked at a distant company. And then from there, that's when Warrant Officer Mohana came after some time. But they did not find me at Yellow Jersey, Commissioner.
You may be correct. To be fair to you, I'm reading Warrant